Tonight on CTV News, a personal delivery to the government from those trying to save a Christchurch school. And the Cricket World Cup, it was described as a success, but is Christchurch exciting enough for returning visitors?
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening. It took social media by storm, but now the repercussions for a 16-year-old are all too clear. He stole a digger and took it on a 90-minute joyride of destruction through the city a few weeks ago, and today he appeared in court and was granted bail. He pleaded guilty on 10 charges at the Christchurch Youth Court today, including driving while prohibited, intentional damage, reckless driving, failing to stop, and driving with excess breath alcohol. He will return to court in late July. Police were called about 2 weeks ago before engaging in this 90-minute pursuit of the digger, which drove on the wrong side of the road and crashed into a fence before the youth was eventually stopped by police using tear gas. It's estimated the repair bill could exceed $100,000. Well, there's no other way. Redcliffe's school must stay open. That's the strong position the school, local community and politicians are taking to the government. And members of the school board delivered their submission personally to the Ministry of Education.
It's now been handed in, and the waiting continues for the people of Redcliffe School. The submission has been made by the school stuck in limbo, unsure if their damaged site in Redcliffe's will be returned to. In March, the Education Minister voiced her concerns over the safety of the site, with rockfalls from the earthquake causing issues not just for now, but for the future site. However, Principal Kim Alexander believes they've got a good argument to save their former location.
I'm reassured now that the chance of ever having the future education disrupted in the future is incredibly low. And the other thing I think that will really help the Minister make her decision is that the community has so loudly and strongly said we want our school and we want our school back on that site.
The board at Redcliffe School have been busy trying to answer the worries from Hikea Plurata, saying they're more likely to be struck by other natural disasters than the face of the cliff rolling down again, with options being put forth by the experts the first time round.
The focus of it was whether the site was completely safe or not. So it addressed what would need to be done for remediation, which was the idea of moving the school site forward and then building a protection wall and a bund. So it focused on that and the suggested remediation and the assurances the site was safe.
But now the school has gone ahead with another, working alongside a geotechnical expert to see what disruptions the site could have in the years to come. The report saying the rocks should be the least of their worries.
The potential, say, for tsunami out in this area of Christchurch, and that showed then that Redcliffe School was at no more risk, in fact less risk than some of the other schools out on the side of Christchurch.
Besides the primary school's proposal to the ministry, around 2,000 other submissions have been made, and she says she's happy with the support.
People move to a certain area maybe because they love the idea of their children being able to walk to school, particularly in urban areas. They want them to have those active lifestyles, walk to school, be really part of the community, their friends live in the neighbourhood and that type of thing, and that's certainly the case.
One of them is from Labour's Port Hills MP Ruth Dyson, sharing her thoughts on the Support Redcliffe School Facebook page, where over 3,100 people clicked like. Dyson says she supports a proposal to have the whole site reduced by 10% in size, to provide for the construction of a bund to be created to stop the rocks from hitting the buildings below. And she goes on to say that geotechnical reports suggest the site is not at any risk from rockfall, proven by experts at GNS Science, the group who analysed results in the Education Minister's report.
That chance of disruption is so remote to almost being non-existent, to the point that the school would have to close. It's easily remediated by the bund and even by positioning perhaps the playing fields towards the back of the school, so if ever the bund needed to be reassessed, school could continue.
It's believed the interim process will take around 6 weeks before the Minister will make her decision. another wait for the school.
And then there'll be that period of anticipation and waiting again. But we're used to that. We've been doing it for 4 years and we're very happy to do it for a wee bit longer. For 4 years we've worked here at Van Ash and it's always been business as usual, teaching and learning first. And we'll just carry on.
Final submissions to the Minister are due tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
The father of murdered Ashburton teenager Kirsty Bentley has died. Sir Bentley had been battling bad health for some time and today succumbed to cancer. That's not Sir Bentley, that's Kirsty Bentley of course there. Sir Bentley was one of 20 suspects in the murder mystery of 15-year-old Kirsty Bentley. Her body was found bludgeoned to death at the Rakaya Gorge in 1998. No arrests have been made in the case. It's money that will help several families struggling to put rent back on in their bank accounts. The Christchurch Methodist Mission is making the most of a grant from the Christchurch City Council, and just in time for winter. Here's Chelsea Daniels.
The Christchurch Methodist Mission have taken another huge leap to help provide rental housing for the city's homeless. The council has agreed to allocate $130,000 to help the Methodist Mission to find private rental housing for homeless youth and young families.
We've been particularly concerned about some of the most vulnerable people in the city who are currently homeless. And we've heard stories of young people who are living in garages or in abandoned buildings, and this provides an opportunity for them to have a home.
She says that rental prices in Christchurch have skyrocketed 25% since the earthquakes, which is making it much more difficult for low-income families to find a safe and secure home.
The demand is huge, and obviously this is only 6 houses. It's certainly not going to solve the housing crisis in Christchurch, but it is going to provide a home to some of our most vulnerable young people and young families.
The mission is working with young organisations and the Ministry of Social Development to find the most vulnerable cases.
A typical family might be somebody, we know that our social workers are working with families where there's 2 or 3 families actually living together in one house. We've got families where they're living out of their car but parked up a relative's driveway, so the children might sleep inside at night but all the belongings are in the car and the parents will sleep out in the car at night times.
She says that housing seriously impacts the parenting of children, placing a lot of strain on relationships.
If I talk to our social workers about what's impacting on the families with whom they're working, they say it's housing. They might get a referral from a school saying there's some issues around parenting with this family. They'll go and start working with the family and then see the housing situation that they're living in.
Deputy Mayor Vicky Buck says the growing number of people in our city who are not able to find safe and secure housing is unacceptable. She says that these people have very real and immediate needs and that the council jumped on the opportunity to help. Jill also suggests a way that the government can make a huge difference in these families' lives.
One very simple call that we have made to the government is to increase the accommodation supplement that many of these families are eligible for, because currently the accommodation allowance that's paid here is significantly lower than what's paid in Auckland, and it's something very simple that the government could do to actually take the pressure off many of our low-income families.
In December last year, the council vowed to work with a number of different partners to stop the growing problem of homelessness in Christchurch, and Jill hopes the problem will be solved sooner rather than later.
The hopes for the future is that everybody will have access to warm, secure and affordable housing and a place to call home.
The project will see 6 houses accommodated, 3 for young people and 3 for homeless families with young children. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Will Christchurch become an international cycling city? Well, more than $150 million of funding has been granted for the city's cycleways, but will that actually improve road courtesy?
Christchurch's $156 million cycleway project has received more money than expected from the government. It was announced last Thursday the government would contribute $41.6 million to fast-track 7 of the city's 13 planned cycleway routes. The 7 cycleways will cost $65 million to build, but the government's contribution means it will now cost the council just $23.5 million. Spokes Canterbury chairman Don Babe couldn't be happier with the outcome.
We've got our own city council who are deciding that cycling needs to be a transport option going forward, and we've got a national government that is saying, hey, we think cycling's important from a national point of view.
The lack of driver courtesy for cyclists is seen as a common issue, but Don says there isn't much of a problem as we may think.
The attitude of motorists is not as bad as is often painted in the media. I do about 40 k's a day, so that's I'm not a particularly fast cyclist. It takes me 2 hours. I'm about 10 hours a week on a bike. And most of the people I wave to and say, thanks for letting me in, or thanks for going wide, or thanks for waiting behind me while I go through a little skinny patch. Very seldom am I getting annoyed because someone has done something wrong.
He says if there are more cyclists on the roads, the more drivers will look out for them.
As we get more and more cyclists, people become more aware of them. Like if you're going down to the stop sign at the end of your road and you see a cyclist going by when you're stopped there once every 3 months, well, you're not really going to think about them. But if you see 5 go by every single day, they become part of the scenery.
The project hopes to see Christchurch turn into a world-class cycling city. However, Don says there's still a long way to go.
We've got a long way to go to be even in probably the top 20 cycling cities in the world. Cities overseas have been doing this for a number of years.
The funding assistance was a part of a national $333 million government investment. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
And still to come here on CTV News, school leaders come together and free eye checks for Canterbury children are proving extremely popular. Welcome back to CTV News. Leadership started today. More than 600 students came together to find out what it takes to be an international leader in a world that demands more and more of our young people. Here's Jared McCulloch.
Putting the leader in leadership. That's what was being talked about today here at Christ College, seeing a record number of Canterbury high schools travelling near and far to attend this year's event. 2015 marks the 7th Emerging Leadership Programme, and the organiser says it's the biggest turnout of students since its inception, with the conference almost doubling.
Yes, it is. For our hall, it is. I mean, in the past we've had sort of around 500 to 550, so to have 600 is great. And there's a lot of schools that want to send more students to the conference.
Around 600 Year 12 pupils from nearly 30 schools attended to find out more about leadership, many of them aiming for the top roles in their schools and even beyond. Thatcher has been organising this event for the past 5 years and has seen the program develop, saying the course has transformed a lot as time's gone on.
What we've done is we've looked at new areas. One is what we call leadership in the community, which we get the students to talk about what community service they're doing in their schools. We're bringing in more shorter TEDx style plenary speakers as well, and it's just involved from there.
Schools as far away as Timaru have travelled up for the day-long inspirational talks and workshops, seeing people like Sam Johnson talk to the students about their successes. And one of the guest speakers is one of Christ College's own. Now 23, Alex Rees created a non-profit organisation in Sri Lanka, using his passion for cricket to develop life skills for underprivileged children. And Thatcher says he's impressed with what he's achieved.
I knew him when he was at school, and he's a fine young man, and he's somebody that has beliefs and goes with them. I think, and such a worthwhile cause as well, obviously, to help the underprivileged in Sri Lanka. And
he says having guest speakers and workshops like this to talk about leadership is an essential aspect for aspiring leaders.
I think it's important because it's the youth who are the future leaders, and so I think it's important to be speaking to them and to be focusing on leadership at a young age.
It's also very interactive, with a wee exercise at the start requiring young students to take selfies of the event throughout the day, something Thatcher didn't quite take part in.
I wasn't taking part in that, no, and my sons will laugh at that, but no, it wasn't me.
But besides that, it's a time for students to think ahead, being the next leaders of New Zealand. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
A Christchurch optometrist is offering free eye checks to those under 16 years of age, and it's a move being welcomed by many. Here's Chelsea Daniels.
Specsavers have launched their Kids Go Free offer in an attempt to improve the eye health of children under the age of 16. The government currently only offers free eye testing for children under 5, and distance vision is only checked by the age of 12.
For the really young kids, we're making sure that the eyes are straight. We're making sure their head isn't tilted back or at a funny angle. We're making sure that the pupils aren't white, so that could suggest there's some growths inside of the eyes. Also, if children get really close to a TV screen or hold books really close, that might suggest that there's a visual problem.
For the older children, should technology be to blame?
But the technology can be making some of these kids become short-sighted. We're not really sure yet whether it's the more cell phone use, the more iPad use, or whether it's the less time spent outside playing around. It's kind of still up for debate at this stage.
The offer revival comes after the success they had in January, where they saw the amount of children coming in for eye exams rise significantly.
We found a great response from kids coming in. A lot of kids picked up who had some refractive problems or health problems that we were able to help, that we're still seeing now.
Richard took us through how the test works, which is an easy and quick process.
Basically, the children come in, they see one of the optical assistants, they get pre-tested, so they run through a few tests first where we kind of check their prescription roughly, we take some photographs of the retina of the back of the eye, then they come into the room, we run through a quick brief history, we check the vision, we check their binocular vision, their colour vision, and then we check to see what their prescription is, whether they're long-sighted, short-sighted or no prescription and the vision's really good. And then we stick them behind the slit lamp, have a good look at the health of the front of the eye and have a look at the health of the back of the eye. And then we can run through the photograph with them, show them that their eye looks normal, hopefully, and then we're all done.
The Kids Go Free incentive saves customers $60 for each time their child gets an eye exam.
I just think it's great for the parents that can't afford to have their eyes tested and to look after their kids.
And Brittany assures us that it wasn't difficult at all.
It was pretty easy, it wasn't anything too difficult.
The AA applauds the fresh initiative by Specsavers. AA Chief Executive Brian Gibson says it's a major step because if you can't see properly, you can't drive safely. Other experts are hoping that the scheme will encourage more children to get further eye checks as they grow older and to check for glaucoma before the age of 45. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
A stolen digger's been found hidden in a local park in Fairlie. It was snatched earlier this month, with police concerned it could have been put on the black market rebuild in Christchurch.
A yellow digger stolen from a Fairlie construction company has been found hidden in a nearby park. The 1.6-tonne Hyundai vehicle was stolen earlier this month, found missing after someone cut open a wire fence and stole the digger with its trailer. Police at the time say the vehicle was likely to have been stolen for the use on the Christchurch rebuild, saying similar machinery has also been stolen in previous months and would have been easily noticed if it had turned up in Fairlie. But it has been found in the town, hidden in the nearby Pioneer Park by a member of the public. Police say the digger was likely to have been stashed by the thief, who would have come back for it later. Police are continuing their investigations and are asking anyone to come forward with information.
And still to come here on CTV News, your region's weather forecast with Mercy. Welcome back to CTV News. Just a quick reminder, we are now broadcasting and streaming live online at ctv.co.nz. Well, the Cricket World Cup has been described as a success by officials, bringing in thousands of visitors to the city. But has the experience been good enough for international tourists to return?
The 2015 Cricket World Cup brought $30 million to Canterbury and created over 300 full-time jobs, a new report shows. Nearly 50,000 fans attended the 3 tournament games held at the newly opened Hagley Pavilion, including the opening match and opening event. The PwC report issued today shows that the Cup brought 10,000 international visitors to Canterbury, who each spent on average $900 while they were here. The event showcased Christchurch's first completed anchor project and was regarded by the City Council as a much-needed tourist pull following visitor declines because of the earthquakes. The International Cricket Council says the 2015 event is its most popular ever, drawing a dedicated TV audience of more than 1.5 billion people worldwide. It says the final match played in Melbourne between Australia and the Black Caps was the highest attendance ever recorded for a single day of cricket. But will the visitors come back for more? Tourism organisations are hoping so, especially as many of the tourists were from new visitor markets in Asia, some seeing the South Island for the first time.
I guess time will tell. Now it is time for the region's weather forecast.
Kia ora Canterbury. Well, those northwesterly winds continue to push through today, bringing with them warmer temperatures for most of the region. Let's take a look at today's highs. Twizel and Waimate both on 14 degrees, everywhere else 13 degrees for you. Heading to mid-Canterbury now. Very warm for Christchurch on 15, you had one of the region's highs. Akaroa on 13 degrees, same with Leeston. 12 degrees for Methven, a little bit cooler for you. Taking a look at North Canterbury now, Kaikoura, you were the other person who shared the region's highs with 15, 13 degrees for Cheviot and Amberley, 10 degrees for Rangiora. Taking a look at the Alpine region now, Lake Tekapo, 12 degrees for you. Let's take a look at tomorrow's temperatures for the major centres. Northwesterly winds for Timaru, a few cloudy patches and sunny skies for you, 13 is your high tomorrow. Now over to Ashburton, light winds for you with sunshine, a little bit cooler though on 10 degrees, 1 for your morning. Over to the Garden City now, northwesterly winds are set to gust through tomorrow, but they are going to ease during the evening, 10 degrees is your high. Looking to Kaikoura, northwesterly winds for you as well, they're supposed to ease during the day as well, 14 degrees is your high tomorrow. Taking a look at other areas for tomorrow's temperatures, Twizel on 10 degrees, a little bit cooler for you, 15 for Temuka and Geraldine. Up to mid-Canterbury, Akaroa on 14 degrees, Darfield and Methven 10 degrees for both of you, northwesterly winds coming through, and Leeston you're on 13 with sunny skies. Up to mid-Canterbury, up to North Canterbury rather, 10 degrees for Cheviot, Ham Springs, Amberley and Rangiora, 14 degrees for Oxford and Colverton, northwesterly winds coming through for this area. And over to the Alpine region, 10 degrees for everyone here. Watch that rain and Arthur's Pass though. Taking a look at the upcoming days, 10 degrees for everyone for Thursday, northwesterly winds coming through again. We are seeing sunshine and a little bit of cloud for Ashburton. Flipping over to Friday now, we're seeing 10 degrees for Timaru and Ashburton, a little bit warmer for Kaikoura on 12. Those northwesterly winds are easing though. Taking a look at other areas, northwesterly winds coming through, sunny patches around the region, and as we head further north, that continues with the sunshine. Over to Thursday now, a very similar picture here with a few cloudy patches, mostly sunshine though and mild temperatures as we head north, light winds and cloudy patches there. So as we are seeing, those northwesterlies are set to continue over the next couple of days. Not so great for the ski fields, but they are bringing warmer temperatures for us. For now though, that's your weather update for Tuesday.
Thanks, Mercy. At least those single digits for night time, eh? Who would have thought? And that is CTV News for Tuesday. Have a good night.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.